If you're a plumbing company and you're not tuned into AI, it's time to get started. Today's topic is AI for plumbing companies, do or die time. We're going to talk about just some conceptual ideas that we have about this, that I have, and what is already actually happening.
Right.
And so I told this to a guy the other day, and he said, you told people they didn't have to know AI. And I said, I didn't say they didn't have to know AI or do anything about it. I said, they don't have to do anything about it with our services to show up on AI.
Because we're already doing it.
Yeah, because we're doing that for them.
Right.
And so a lot of the clients are already on ChatGPT and messing around, or they're not. But if they're not dialed in on marketing, then they're not showing up on ChatGPT, which is Bing's. They're not showing up on Gemini, which is Google. And arguably, if they don't show up on there, they don't do well on either search engine anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're all getting their information from the same source. Yeah. It's all one big pile, and they're all sifting through it.
They're sifting through it. And some of it, we all see stuff, and I'm like, that's not entirely true, because they're sifting through data, and it's like they may be up to date on the data, but the collective of data may be behind a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they're taking everything with a bulk amount of data and then spitting out answers, but it's working pretty darn good, and it's here, and it's not going anywhere. So we get a call about our services, just as an example, every other day at least, maybe every day.
Yeah, we literally have people going into ChatGPT and saying, what's the best thing to use for my plumbing SEO? And DataPins comes up on the list.
DataPins or Plumbing Webmasters comes up and somebody calls us.
Right.
And now that showed up there, though, because we do really well with our digital brand presence and our websites.
Right.
It doesn't just manifest out of nowhere. So
you have to work at it.
You have an overall brand, and it's tuned in well, and you begin to show up on AI. And right now, and I'm going to guess for the next 5 years, so we talked about, we used to think down the road 7 or 8 years. And
we would think 7, 8, sometimes even 10.
Yeah.
Depending on what we were talking about.
Started talking about 5 years down the road, maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Stopped thinking that far down the road. Now I think down the road about 3 years, because things are changing so rapidly.
Yeah.
And when I say do or die time, like if people aren't, frustrating parts about this, people still say, should I market at all? And so when people call up and they're not sure if they want to do this, they literally, to me, are saying, should I market at all? Because they're saying, well, I got to.
They don't usually say it in those words.
No.
But if they stop to analyze what they're asking you, that's pretty much what they're saying.
They think because they have a website and they get a few Google reviews that they're marketing.
Right.
I equate it to, in the 1980s, somebody got a business card and I got the raised lettering. And look at this one. It's got it's got.
It's shiny.
Yeah, it's got words on the back. And you're like, oh, damn, bro. You
Front and back?
You went all out. You got 4-color processing on that thing. You're like, yeah.
That was expensive, too.
Feel that cardstock. You're like, oh, shit. And so people would take those, and if you have a website and you get Google reviews, you're basically pinning your business card on the donut shop bulletin board.
Yeah.
And wondering why nobody calls your plumbing company. And you're like, well, it's just that stuff. It's magic, and those guys, and they're private equity, and it's none of that stuff. It's like you're literally not marketing almost at all, but you did a little bit. You got it your business card. You tacked it up to every donut shop in town. You had a different kolache from a different donut shop every day, and still nobody called you. You got one call. So that's what it is when people aren't trying now.
Yeah.
And I have some darker parts of this. I'll talk about private equity real quick. Like, why is private equity buying plumbing companies? If things are going to entirely go away,
yeah,
why is private equity buying all the plumbing companies? You think they're dumb with their hundreds of millions of dollars roving through, gobbling up plumbing companies? There's still tons of individual operating plumbing companies that are watching private equity buy this stuff around them.
Yeah.
They're positioning themselves in the marketplace with the marketing high in search rankings and high on AI search.
Right.
So why would they be doing that? Yeah, to get market share.
Because it makes money.
Yeah, it makes money to get market share. What if robots take over? Well, they are going to be the ones that profit from it.
Yeah.
Because
that private equity firm probably also owns the company that's making the robots.
I don't know about all
Or
that.
at least they're
but,
tied together.
part of my point on this is that if somebody's positioned in the marketplace, they'll be able to ride with changes.
Right.
By the time that someone decides to market, they're like, maybe I should market. And say it's 10 years from now that robots are turning wrenches and you're not up in ranking, and then you're already losing all this work. And say it's not robots turning wrenches, but things change. And there's all this serious change going on, and there's search on AI, and someone's sitting there mired in this old school stuff of they literally, for all intents and purposes, they have a website up, they get some Google reviews, they don't market.
Yeah.
They're not showing up anywhere. They're like, I got 120 Google reviews and it's just not working. This other guy down the street who's in Pack 3 mapping, he shows up on Gemini AI and ChatGPT and he's got 40 trucks on the road. What's he doing different? Well, he tried and got on. He did something to help signal. I was talking to a guy just before I walked in here, and I was having to explain it to him, and I don't mind explaining it to him, but it's like we're like a good accounting firm, We're like a good professional service. You need some good services.
Yeah. You need help.
You need
Everybody
some help on
does.
it. And he'd been burned by somebody. And I'm like, everybody's been burned by somebody.
That's everybody. Yeah.
So it's 30,000 digital marketing agencies and 29,900 of them are really bad, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault. And we're not one of them. We're not one of the
we're the good one.
We're the best one. But people look up, have a bad experience, and then they don't do anything, and then they wonder why. People are passing them by. I just talked to a guy that had 11 reviews but had been in business 20 years.
Good
and he'd
Lord.
gone down to a couple of calls a week and was about to lose his crew and a couple of jobs a week and about to lose his crew. I mean, so it's like, well, and he didn't market at all, but he had a website up and he had 11 reviews and he'd been in business a long time, but it didn't work. And he was
11 reviews on 20 years. That's awful.
He was in a really large market, a good market, a very progressive market north of Dallas, like a good city too.
Okay.
Really good
I'm
city.
pretty sure I know.
the-
There's probably one of three you're talking
You
about.
know the county, and it is
Yeah.
one of those three cities.
Yeah.
So
To put it kind of lay it out a different way, if you're going along running your plumbing company and you're not marketing sufficiently now, and then one day you wake up and this change happens with AI or private equity coming into your area or whatever,
Right.
by the time you see the change happen, it's going to be too late. They're going to have a huge leg up on you.
Right.
Let's just say that some kind of AI-driven tool, it doesn't have to be a humanoid robot turning a wrench. It can be a thing this big that you put in the pipe and snakes it out for you without you having to get dirty.
could be anything. Yeah.
And say that happens, if you haven't marketed properly, you will not have the resources to buy that new tool.
Yeah.
But they're going to have that new tool because they've got the resources.
I mean, we've got AI in DataPins. There's
Yeah.
AI in Google and in Bing. ChatGPT is AI search. There might be AI in a robot. So all these points of AI coming through, and instead of it diminishing the marketplace, like SEO's dead, no, it's not. It's just a clickbait thing for you to click on stuff.
Right.
The stuff that an agency used to do that didn't have the foresight to produce something like DataPins, they've been diminished, and they don't do as good of a job. We do a better job. 'cause we have
Diminished
tools.
almost to the point of uselessness. in some
They
cases.
do like half the stuff they used to do.
Yeah.
But that half the stuff that they used to do was the things that move the needle for SEO.
Right.
A lot. The base level stuff of a great website and schema code and WordPress and citations and domain authority, all that's still needed.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting there and you're missing all this new stuff, so you're not on Google well enough, you show up here and there, it barely keeps you alive. Instead of you booming, you're not really showing up on Gemini, you're not showing up on ChatGPT at all. You're missing all the new stuff, and that's going to begin to diminish and tick in. Forget robots and, Bill Gates, Bill Gates and a 100-foot robot mowing everybody down. Yeah. Maybe it'd be like the Smiths, the Gates. There'd just be, millions of them.
Oh, yeah.
Matrix.
Matrix.
Yeah.
You lost me for a second.
Mr. Smith?
We were on Futurama Bill Gates robot yesterday.
I was just like,
You
well,
switched-
the
you
first-
switched the reference.
I don't know if any of our clients ever watched Futurama, really, but there was an episode where it was Fry had come back from to the future from the past. He was cryo frozen for what, 2,000 years or something?
1,000 years.
1,000 years. And he was excited for Christmas.
And everybody else was terrified.
Yeah, they're terrified because they're now the robot Santa Claus went rogue and was killing everybody on every Christmas.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. And I just picture the worst case of that's like I guess it could be worse than that. It could be like, 1 billion Bill Gates robots, Mr. Gates, Mr. Smith.
Oh no, Gatebots.
Gatebots, just mowing. But whatever version of AI occurs, if you keep losing a little bit here, losing a little bit there, and the guy that I talked to that had 11 reviews in a really good town, he was just at the point to where it was almost too late to get in, to make a change. And I think he's going to try, and he's actually in decent shape. I'd rather someone have more reviews than that. They'd been around a long time.
Yeah.
A real long
Google
time.
is aware that guy exists.
Yeah.
They're waiting for him to give them more.
Yeah, it's not a good user experience. It's not good content. It's not very helpful, and it's not worthy of showing somebody. I was talking to somebody else, and they're like, well, then I can stop after I get up in ranking. I was like, no, you can't go dark on signaling to Google and ChatGPT and everything else if you expect to continue in ranking. I said, look at it this way. If you got up in ranking and then went dark on it, and Google said, you know what, we like Bob and Bill and Tom, and we're just going to put them on there for seniority purposes. We're not going to worry about these guys having better user experiences, better signaling, better content, and using innovative things that clients like to look at, like DataPins. We're just going to do it on seniority because, by God, these are good guys.
These are nice guys.
These are nice guys. We like them.
If a channel stops broadcasting, it's dead air and everybody stops listening. And it's the same thing happens.
They'll stop doing it because it's a poor user experience. And as soon as they started doing that, everybody found out that you didn't have to innovate and get better in order to stay up on Google. Bing would look up and ChatGPT and go, aha, we're going to take the best people, not the most seniored ones.
Right.
And so all the old guys these old guys fall off anyway a lot of times, and it's sad.
Yeah.
I'm 52 now, and I don't have a lot of empathy for it because I'm 52 as well, dude.
And you're on the phone all day.
And I'm on the
talking to
phone
these
busting
guys.
it. I don't have a lot of empathy for them. It's like I understand the humanity of it, but believe me, Jason hears me bitch about it. But I'll bitch about
It's actually my whole job.
It's become a larger part of it. I'm shameful to say. Thank you for listening to me from time to time, Jason. My wife grows weary. And not paid. She is paid to
Go
listen.
call Jason. You're bothering.
Yeah, dang it, why ain't she listening? I was like, she's not paid to listen to me. I was, wait a minute, I pay her pretty well. Anyways, but she's unruly, man. What are you going to do?
I hope she doesn't see this.
I can't,
I'm not agreeing with him.
I'm going to shut up. She won't see this, but just in case. But there is a humanity factor to it. But at the same time, boo-hoo that you got old and quit marketing and Google didn't give you creds for being old and having seniority. They, however, do still recognize the seniority, but you can't dish up your crap. I had another one today. I've been on the phone for a while.
Yeah.
And I had another one today where the guy, I called a nice lady in the office. She said, I'm going to talk to the owner. So I said, all right, I'll talk to the lady. And she said, owners don't want to change the website. And I'm like, okay, all due respect, on the sitemap, if you look at this section, y'all have made a plumbing page for plumbing repair in 6 cities, drain repair in 6 cities, water heater repair.
That's
in
old
6 cities.
spam.
And I said, this is really
That's fossilized spam.
This is like 10-year-old content spam. And she said, it is a 10-year-old website. And I said, I can't really tell how old it is, but it makes sense. And she said, is there anything else you can do? And I said, I can't make Google like your trash. And I said, I would love to hear from you guys. And I'm not going to get mad at the messenger here telling me this on the phone, but this is not good.
Yeah.
And we can't trick them. Now, if they talk to a salesperson go, oh, yeah, we'll slap our widget on top of this thing and make them like it. No.
It will not work.
They will not like it. This thing had like 50 pages of 10-year-old old school spam that Google, frankly, 10 years ago said don't do. And we did not do that 10 years ago. But people did, and they would get a little bit of benefit from it. But the reason we didn't do it is because as soon as the algorithm changes, and get smart enough, then it knocks off the.
Yeah, it all just disappears.
So
all your ranking, all your traffic just goes away.
Presumably, this nice lady was told to do this by the office. And shame on any of you guys who tell someone up front to do your marketing investigations for you. Because what happened was she got to talk to Nolan Walker. And if the owner talked to Nolan Walker, you'd have, by God, believed me. And I'd have shook your soul just a little bit, just a tiny bit. But y'all had Janet call me. And Janet had to go up and say, well, we're not changing the website, Janet.
Yeah, you took Janet and you tied her hands behind her back and then made her get on the phone.
She talked to me. You didn't hear me. And then you felt good about yourself and you pointed a big finger at Janet. No, Janet, we don't do that.
Get it done.
Get it done, girl. Yeah. Went and smacked Janet around, walked out with your ego, head 10 times too big, and marketing just tank.
Right.
And nothing I can do about it. I won't call back. And I said, hey, I'm not calling back, but I'd love to hear from you. But this is a massive mistake. So you still, you got to stay in the game. You've got to get after AI. And the do or die, you better get going now. Like right now before something changes.
The best time to call was 3 months ago. The second best time is today.
Yeah, I had a good analogy on and then there's a group that wants leads, It's like leads is like buying an apple as opposed to planting an apple tree.
Right.
So, and nobody ever wants, I don't want to plant the apple tree. It's like, well, I just buy an apple. I don't want to pay for the apples. And by God, I got to buy 100 apples, every season. It was like, we could have had 400 apples.
Every season.
Yeah, for a tenth of the price. But you never want to plant the tree,
I planted 2 apple trees.
Did you plant some apple trees?
Yeah.
Are they supposed to grow in North Texas?
They do. Yeah.
If that bears fruit, I want to hear about it.
They're going to be a crap ton. I've got
so?
2 apple trees and I got 2 mature pecan trees.
I'm jealous. If that thing actually bears fruit before it gets cold outside, I want to see that.
It probably won't this year because they're saplings.
I think I'm talking ever.
Yeah.
Because you can plant
pomegranate. We're about 3 years away.
You can plant pomegranate here, but you don't get pomegranate. By the time it gets cold, the pomegranate isn't ripe on the tree or the bush.
Right.
It's not ripe. So anyway,
I also took cuttings from my neighbor's fig tree, and I'm starting those too.
That's nice. That's nice.
My wife, there was a bunch of wasps in the yard. My wife wanted to do something and kill all the wasps. I'm like, no, we need them. You can kill the ones if they try to make nests on the porch.
Yeah.
But you got to leave them alone because if you guys didn't know this, every fig starts as a dead wasp.
I know people say that. But maybe like the little embryo in there or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe it, but I love figs, and I don't want to hear that anymore, Jason. I need a suspension of disbelief.
Well, the growth of the fig completely consumes the wasp. It's not like you're biting a fig and then all of a sudden there's a crunch in the middle of it where the wasp is. The wasp is gone.
I don't talk to people about this, but I work hard, and I like 3 things. I like 4 things. I like to hang out with my family. I like to biohack. I'm 52, so I love doing stuff that makes me feel better and live longer. I like to garden. I like really nice setup spaces, like just stuff that just jaw dropping. So it's nice enough in my backyard that I don't feel like I got to go on vacation. I'm just living it, as much as you can in North Texas. We got good, good as we can do. And I like fishing. I like fishing a little bit, but just bass fish mainly, sand bass, blade bass.
Right.
Maybe catfish if I'm not catching anything. I'll sour some maize and chum up for catfish. That's just to keep the kids interested. So if you don't catch anything, you throw out some sour grain of any kind, and it smells horrible, and all the catfish come around, drop stink bait right over the top of them, pull up catfish. But yeah, those are the things that I like to do. The reason I work, and I don't know why. If fear's not enough for you, maybe the dream is enough for you. But I think it's insane that people aren't going for it, going for it. And I say enough. I told this to, I got a guy that called me and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Walker," and it was a son of the owner,
Okay.
"Oh," I said, "I'm Nolan, the guy in the video." He said, "Oh no, I know your voice, man. I know. I gotta thank you for." I was like I'm some celeb or something, and he kept saying "Mr." But I said, "I'll leave you with this." On the conversation, I said, I know I was talking about a bunch of stuff here, and it was a brand new company, startup, and there's never, it's not as good, there's not as much good stuff. But if you'll fight for ranking, if you'll put out have a good brand, which still going to have a good website. You can't have a cheap Wix site and compete. You just can't. But he had pulled his Wix site down and said, well, don't pull it down. I'm
A Wix site is better than no site.
Yeah. You get a verified Google account and Wix site, and at least the brand's there, and you shook the hands of Google. They're not going to show you, but the relationship began.
But they know you exist, and they're, like I said, the previous guy, they're waiting for you to give them more.
Experience, expertise, authority, and trust.
Right.
The signals begin to come in, and then when you meet up like somebody like us, it can actually take off much faster.
Yeah.
But I said, if you'll do these things and be consciously daily that you're trying to put forth good signals, Google will recognize you, Bing will recognize you, ChatGPT will recognize you, Gemini will recognize you, and you will dominate a market because 99% of you, and I'm not joking about it, don't understand hardly any of it and won't continue. And I'll use this as an example again. It's been a busy week. It's been a busy month. It's been a busy year.
Yeah.
I'm in here talking. My throat is barely, I'm a little better today. But my throat's raspy and hasn't repaired.
Right.
I've been on the phone all day long every day. It's busy, but we're in here cutting content for marketing. And if I stop and I just get busy and I don't come in here and do this stuff, then the digital brand signaling of plumbing webmasters and DataPins falls off. And if people are okay at it, they go up and down and up and down. Oh, there was unseason, off season. I start with this company and that one. And they start and stop.
Yeah.
And most of them never really give a good try anyway. But anybody who comes out and tries, and yes, you can beat those private equity guys. Yes, you can beat them too.
It is not out of your reach. If you fight for it and do things the right way, you can get organic ranking. You can get organic results that beats anything else.
Hundreds and hundreds of % better ROI, maybe 10 times better depending on how solidified you are in the market, best leads, best stuff. And then instead of having to go hustle, most of our clients don't buy any leads. Just they live off of the organic only. That's how much it brings.
At least not after they're our client for at least a short time.
Yeah.
They often come to us and they're buying leads and they want to get off of it.
Yeah, guys, it's AI's coming. It's still Google Maps primarily, but if you're on Google Maps and you're dogging it, AI's showing you already.
Yeah.
If Google Maps isn't showing you, they don't like your brand. It's not worthy to show people. I talk to people all the time now that will have up to 120 reviews and still not doing well. Things are changing, and we have worked on DataPins for 6 years. It is extremely high quality. We've got another programmer starting in office. We'll talk about that on the next one. In office, very pleased that all this work occurs out of Fort Worth, Texas. Go America, by the way. Texas is a great place to have people working in here. Nothing gets shipped out of the country. And you've got the best people. This is what Jason and I were talking about the other day. This is our best crew.
This is the best crew we've had, I think,
ever. So look forward to hearing from you. Call us. A lot of times you talk to me directly. I'm grateful, happy to hear from you. Reach out. We'll call you back, and we'd love to be of service and see you up there and ranking soon.